On July 22nd, my friends and I were out celebrating my 18th birthday before the most unimaginable thing had happened. Only 4 of us went home that night. 3 shot and sent to hospital, and unfortunately, our best friend Reese did not make it. And all we were doing was eating ice cream. What happened to us was a tragedy, and we think we could have had better odds had attitude toward handgun ownership had been different before that night. So now I want to do what I can to make a difference in the interest of public safety. Today we are sending an open letter to the Prime Minister and copying all MPs across Canada in the hope that this will influence the thinking about gun policy in Canada. Bill C-71 is a start, but more needs to be done. The mayors of the 3 largest cities in Canada have called for a ban of private ownership of handguns and assault weapons. We are challenging all Canadians who feel the way that we do to sign the petition being sponsored by Julie Dzurowitz, MP for Danforth. Before I read this letter, I want to say that I'm speaking for this group, and we are all in support of the letter. I'm supported by everyone on the stage and others here today. Our group has so much to be thankful for the first responders, the Danforth community, those that helped raise funds and did what they could to help on that night and after. Thank you. We are all in different places and living with our loss. We miss Reese and we miss Juliana. We have to live with that, but we don't have to live with the laws that could be changed to help prevent this from happening again. What we are asking for is part of a solution to a complex problem, but that does not excuse us from acting on this part. Let me read the letter now, which expresses our thinking. Dear Mr. Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Justin Trudeau, we, the undersigned, are the families that were victimized last July 22nd. Our innocent children and loved ones were shot while engaged in the rightful act of enjoying our Danforth neighborhood on a warm summer evening. We ask you to pay attention to our ongoing grief as we lay to rest much too soon Juliana Kozis and Reese Fallon, 2 young women with so much unrealized potential. We thank you for appointing the Honorable Bill Blair, Minister of Border Security and Organized Crime Reduction, to make recommendations as to what can be done to address what clearly has become a matter of public safety and a societal problem that continues to escalate on a national level. Having taken some 7 months to grieve and consider what we should do to make a difference, we are urging that Canada follow the lead of other like-minded countries, such as the UK, Japan, and Australia, and impose a ban on the private ownership of handguns and military-style assault rifles. We acknowledge that this action is not the only step that needs to be taken to stem gun violence. However, we believe it will be impactful and effective as the results in other countries have shown. We are aware that certain types of firearms used legally and responsibly are deemed necessary to preserve a way of life. In the case of those wanting to use handguns for sport or as a hobby, we conclude that the sport enthusiasts themselves do not need to own the handguns that provide this experience. Ownerships of guns for that purpose should be restricted to facilities that are tightly regulated, routinely inspected, and secured. Despite the steps taken by law-abiding owners and retailers, legally purchased handguns and assault weapons are increasingly making their way into illegal situations and act as instruments of death in homicides and in suicides. In our case, a handgun that was imported through legal channels found its way to the perpetrator of our trauma and loss. Why did this need to happen? Why would we let this continue when reasonable compromise is possible? Are we going to learn from our experience, or are we going to express grief in the moment and move on? We are better than this as a nation. This is a matter of public safety. We are a just and democratic society and trust that the facts will lead this country to support our unanimous call for the ban of private ownership of handguns and military-style assault weapons. We urge our fellow Canadians and all MPs to sign and support the petition supporting this ban at www.triggerchange.ca. Sincerely, the families.